Hello, I'm Janet Morano, the Executive Director of Priests for Life. Welcome to our program. Well, of course, as you all know, there's a lot of feast days in December and some special to those of us in the pro-life movement. And of course, December 9th is the feast day of Juan Diego, who Our Lady first appeared to as Our Lady of Guadalupe many, many years ago. And then, of course, on December 12th, we have the feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe herself. And this has special, special meaning to us in the pro-life movement. Well, today, joining me on the program is our National Director, Father Frank Pavone, and we're going to discuss the meaning of these important feasts to us who have been so active in the pro-life movement.
That's right.
Father, welcome to the
program.
Great
to be here. It's an important topic.
Absolutely. Well, Father, when I think back, from the moment you were my parish priest, of course, and it got me involved, you kind of raised the awareness. I mean, the only Blessed Mother apparition kind of saints I was familiar with growing up as a child was Our Lady of Fatima, Our Lady of Lourdes. I mean, those are the very common ones that the average Catholic really pays attention to. Miraculous medals, of course, and things of that nature. But then we have this other whole layer of Blessed Mother feast days that not everyone is tuned into. And of course, Our Lady of Guadalupe is one of them. And until you awakened me in my conscience about abortion, I had never heard of Our Lady of Guadalupe. So for our audience here, can you just give us a little history about Our Lady of Guadalupe and Juan Diego?
Right. Well, this was going back to the 16th century, and Juan Diego, this is down in Mexico, and he was confronted with this image of this apparition of Our Lady one day as he was doing his work out in the fields, and she told him that she was going to have roses appear in the winter and gather the roses and take them to the bishop right? to show that it was really her that was speaking to him, right? So he had this work cloak, this called a tilma.
Tilma, right? That
he was able to put the roses in it,
right,
and bring them. He said, I saw a vision of Our Lady. Here's the evidence. When he opened it up and the roses fell onto the ground, her image was on the tilma.
Wow.
And that was the miraculous sign, along with the roses themselves. And
what was her specific, would you say, Our Lady at that time in the history of Mexico, appearing to Juan Diego? I mean, she basically picked a very humble, devout peasant, really. But why in Mexico at that moment? Because I think that leads up to why she's become the patroness of the unborn. Right?
Yeah, because they had the Aztec peoples had a philosophy of despair. They didn't think that God was on their side. They had the human sacrifice taking place, because they thought they had to, appease the anger of the gods. Otherwise they were going to.
So they were really practicing child sacrifice.
Human sacrifice. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was based in fear and despair, because they had this idea, God was going to destroy humanity. He was going to turn everybody into monkeys. It was all these crazy ideas, unless they were to do this, right? Well, so fear and despair leads to a lot of violence.
And when you think about it, Father, as we know from the women who've had abortions through our ministry with Silent No More and Rachel's Vineyard, fear and despair are some of the key reasons why women go and get abortions today.
That's right. It's not freedom, it's despair.
It's despair, right? So now, that she appeared then to Juan Diego, but besides the roses and the tilma, turning into her image, did she have a specific message?
Yes, well, it was a message of comfort. It was a message that she is truly our mother, that we are to trust in her. But this was the message, really, is that God is with us, because on that image of her, she's pregnant. Now, the image has, one could talk for hours about the different detailed symbolism that's in the image, showing that she's pregnant and showing that she is actually not the god or the goddess. She's praying to the true God. So here we have a a message, really, which is the gospel. The gospel begins, Matthew's gospel, he shall be called Emmanuel, which means God with us. And we hear that now as we get closer to Christmas. That message of God being with us is the message of the incarnation. It is the message of Christmas. It's the message of Our Lady of Guadalupe, because this God is so with us that he becomes human. He becomes a baby in her womb. Right. And she's the one worshiping him, praying to him. And what that says to the Aztecs is, you don't have to fear God. You have to trust God. He's with you. Right. He's not just want to destroy you. He wants to give you life. He's with you. He's not against you. He's on your side. So that whole thrust of the gospel message, I am with you. Gospel of Matthew begins, he shall be called Emmanuel, God is with us. The Gospel of Matthew ends, Jesus, before he ascends, saying, I will be with you always until the end of time. Right. So this I am with you message is the message of Advent. It's the message of Guadalupe. This image, here's the bottom line. Without the help of missionaries, this image converted 9 million people to Christ and ended the practice of human sacrifice.
That's amazing. Amazing. And so, of course, Our Lady's image, Our Lady of Guadalupe, has become, basically, we consider her the patroness of the unborn.
Yes, that's right. And of the pro-life. Yes, that's right. That's right. Because there's actually an unborn child in the image when you think about it.
And
she's pregnant.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, Father, I can remember when you were my parish priest many times. I think it was Dan Lynch had an apostolate where he would bring,
which he still does.
He still does, Our Lady's image around to parishes, and I remember it was almost like a few days of a retreat with you, where the image was there in the church. And we had special masses and things.
Well, this is the what has developed here now with this apparition. That the tilma, the actual tilma, of course, is, you've seen it. Right. There in Mexico City, right? But this image is on display, and but the bishops in Mexico have approved the replication of this image on these big portraits that travel around. Now, because remember, like I just explained, without the help of human missionaries, this image converted people to Christ. So the image is in and of itself missionary because of its original impact there in the among the Aztec Indians. Okay, so therefore it's called the missionary image, and replicas of it are made now so that the faithful around the world can see and venerate that very same image. And these are, like I say, officially approved images. Now, because, like you made the connection already, because Our Lady appearing overcame the human sacrifice by overcoming the fear and despair that were generating it, so also now we bring this missionary image to abortion facilities, so that the fear and despair that generate today the violence of abortion,
that the women feel,
which is human sacrifice, can be stopped as well. Right. Yeah. That's the mission. So she goes, we bring the image, we have brought the image in front of abortion facilities, but also, like you say, into churches for spiritual retreats and special services. I remember early in my Priest for Life travels, actually we did it more than once. We went down to South Texas, Diocese of Brownsville, right down there at the border. Brownsville and Harlingen, Texas, and all those towns down there. And we it was like a week of events with the missionary image of Our Lady. In the course of like 7 days, we went to 40 churches. Wow. And we brought it's like from morning till late at night.
I remember those pictures, the beautiful, colorful costumes that people
Oh my goodness. The devotion was outstanding. Yeah.
And of course, they sing that famous song. Come on.
La Guadalupana, Desde el cielo, hermosa mañana.
Come on, let me hear you sing a few bars.
Desde el cielo, hermosa mañana. Desde el cielo, hermosa mañana. La Guadalupana, la Guadalupana, la Guadalupana, Bawatepeat. So it means early one beautiful morning, Our Lady of Guadalupe came down from heaven to Tepeyac, which was the hill where she appeared.
And Father, I have a beautiful image here, a statue that was given to me
Look at
number
that.
of years ago.
Yes.
And this is like what you're describing. The bishops
Yes.
have given full permission. And you see here's the roses at her feet.
The roses.
And those are like what the roses, when they fell out of the tilma, is the idea that this is a replica of the tilma. And as he opened it, out came the roses.
Yes.
And as you see a little stomach here.
Right.
Blessed Mother is pregnant. And then there's stars on her.
Of course, some of this is being taken from the Book of Revelation. Where the image, the lady clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars. A lot of this is it spoke to those people though, because it's a combination of the biblical imagery and also symbolism that was known by those people at that time.
That's right.
That again, that's why it's a missionary image, because the more you study, and books have been written about all the different,
things.
The more you study it, the more it speaks to you. It speaks a message of faith and of comfort and of Christ and of God being with us. Well, and of life.
The other thing too, Father, is I've been to Mexico City now twice.
Yes.
2 different conferences. The first time it was for conferences of all the directors of pregnancy centers all over Latin and South America, and I was very honored to be asked to speak at that conference about Silent No More. And then just 2 years ago, I was there for another conference. It was conducted by Salem, the bishops group there, in again Central and South America. They had a conference, and again to talk about Silent No More. So on both occasions, they took everyone from the conference one day by bus from the conference place that was kind of like on the outskirts of Mexico City into the cathedral there to see the image.
Right.
And of course, first of all, the traffic, Father, in Mexico.
I was just going to say.
They think traffic is bad in Manhattan. Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet until you go into Mexico City. And both times, the image, first of all, it's up high in the cathedral. You kind of have to look up. And of course, it's in glass. And the first time I went, they allowed us to go into the gift shop first and purchase some images. And it was a very special permission the bishops gave. A gentleman got a ladder up to the image, and we had in our little bags our images. And each person, they got to touch our images to the image, so that we were bringing home then like third-class relics. And I know we have
you had to go up on the ladder?
No.
He went up on
he went up on the ladder.
I was going to say.
But it was so kind of them because it took a while. We were about 50 people, and each little bag went up.
And he went up.
He went up. And around our office, you'll see those images that we have in our office were all touched then to the original tilma. And so it was quite an undertaking. And of course, I was one of the handful of people that didn't speak no habla español muy bueno, but everyone else. So the chattering going on about the excitement of we get to touch something to Our Lady's image. It was amazing. But the other part that kind of is a little, I don't know, it reminded me of the World's Fair when I was a kid, when they brought over the Pietà from Rome.
Oh yeah.
And they had the Pietà set up, and you didn't get to stand there and look at it. You went by on like a people mover, like a conveyor belt. Well, they have the same thing in Mexico City.
Okay.
You get on this little conveyor belt, and it literally walks you past.
Well, this way here,
because otherwise people wouldn't move.
They have to keep corralling them.
Corralling them. Yeah. So, but it is beautiful, and the cathedral is very nice, but the thing that impressed me even more was when we come outside the cathedral, you look over to the one side and you look up to a hill, and you see these steps go up and they wind around, and there's a little chapel up there because that was the original church when at the time of Juan Diego. There was a little looked like almost like a hut, and what the pilgrims do is they go up step by step on their knees. Praying to this day, step by step. Of course, we were not given the time to do that. They were told, no, we the time, we have to get back on the bus. But you could see people, Father, the devotion going up. I mean, it was like up a hill. When they say the hill of Tepeyac, that's the hill. It's right there. And so what happened was, obviously, as the devotion to Our Lady grew, they built another church down below. And now that church has been taken over, that they build now the big cathedral. So this whole devotion to Our Lady of Guadalupe has just grown through the centuries, that there's now 3 churches there. There's the original little chapel that's up on the hill of Tepeyac. Then there's the original church. and now the cathedral.
Mm.
And it's amazing. People come from all over the world there to that area, and the deep, deep devotion. And I know, like I said, in the Prolife movement, Father, I can remember you've given some nice spiritual retreats dealing with
Yes.
Our Lady of Guadalupe.
We have we have series of retreats and talks, and many abortion mills across the country. This image has been brought to.
Right.
And I remember one time in particular, the administrator of the abortion mill came out.
Wow.
And it was a crowd there, the big missionary image. And she actually came over and touched the image and said, "Oh, how beautiful this is." And, and I was thinking there, see how Mary as a mother attracts people, and who knows the power of conversion.
But when you look at first of all, her eyes are closed, right? So she's almost looking like,
she's bowed in prayer.
Bowed in prayer. So that's already, it shows a very humble posturing, right? So you don't feel nervous looking at that. It does calm you looking at that image, the way she looks, and also the colors. The colors are also soft,
soothing, right? Yes,
again, very soothing. So all of it, and roses. I mean, I think when you ask people, what's your most favorite flower? Roses come to mind. And especially here, too, in the United States, people connect roses, first of all, with love. Valentine's Day, everyone's sending roses. But even the pro-life movement here in the United States, the red rose has become the symbol of the pro-life movement. So if you look at all the connections, like, centuries ago, the rose was used as a way of drawing attention, and now here in America we use the red rose as a symbol of the pro-life movement. So there's a lot of, I don't know, just such connection in that.
There is. Well,
so I really hope that people, first of all, at Priest for Life we have a novena that started before this, obviously, and ends on the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. So they can go to our prayercampaign.org.
Yes.
And they can check out that novena prayer and all the prayers that we have throughout the liturgical year. We have an Advent prayer for life, and so you're very busy, Father, writing all these prayers, right? And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the other beautiful ebook we have they can download for free at our store, Christmas for the Unborn. Just tell them briefly a little bit about Christmas for the Unborn.
Well, it's at christmasfortheunborn.com, and it's a series of Advent and Christmas reflections, but specifically geared towards the pro-life movement and the unborn. And so it's great for Advent. It nourishes Advent meditations, Advent preaching. Deacons and priests can use it for that. And just pro-life spirituality that takes its cue from Mary and the unborn Jesus.
That's right. And I will be remiss, Father, if I don't point out to our people about the beautiful T-shirt we have that our own Brian Kemper of our youth division designed, and it says, "Our Mother Chose Life." And there's a beautiful image of our Blessed Mother on this T-shirt. And that's also available at our online store, prolifeproducts.org. And in fact, we've got some beautiful gifts there for this pro-life gifts for this Christmas season. So I hope that our viewers and our listeners will go to prolifeproducts.org and check that out. So.
That's right. That's a popular one.
Oh, very popular. And it comes in two colors, Father, cranberry and this blue.
In blue.
I'm partial to the blue because I, again, connect that more with Our Lady. And of course, it's available in all sizes, Father, small, medium, large, extra large, and even XX. So again, prolifeproducts.org. And of course, our website, prayercampaign.org, always is where we have, and you're always adding prayers, Father.
Yes. Well, and the prayers cover the whole year, different seasons, different feasts.
But I also know, like during the election season, you wrote a special prayer. You wrote a special prayer when we were praying for the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett.
Right.
You wrote a special prayer for that. So, people should really go there and check out our prayercampaign.org, because as things are happening in the world and in our movement, the Spirit leads you, Father, and you write prayers accordingly.
Right.
Well, thank you for joining us again.
Okay,
Father.
my pleasure.
It was a great discussion.
La Guadalupana. Lots of wonderful devotion.
Oh, come on. Sing as we go out. A few more bars in the song. Come on. For our audience.
La Guadalupana, La Guadalupana, La Guadalupana, Pawatepeyak. Oh, there's an interesting verse there. Let's see if I remember. Es entonces para el mexicano. Therefore, for the Mexican. Es entonces para el mexicano. Ser guadalupano, ser guadalupano, ser guadalupano es algo esencial, which means to be a Guadalupan is necessary. It's a necessary element of your spirituality. In other words, we become Guadalupanos, followers of Our Lady, devotees of Mary, and therefore active participants in the pro-life movement. And that was what was so inspiring with these tours I mentioned to you that we did more than once.
Yeah.
Where it was galvanizing people to become part of the pro-life movement.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Father. Once again, great discussion on Our Lady of Guadalupe, and I hope you, brothers and sisters, learn something by this program about Our Lady of Guadalupe, and you'll go to our website, see the prayers, pray that novena prayer, and see that great devotion. Let's spread the devotion to Our Lady of Guadalupe. So this is Janet Morana, Executive Director of Priests for Life. Thank you for joining us.